Our yoga very clearly explains why the disease arises. Now we have mentioned them as lifestyle diseases. Lifestyle diseases, doctor says that we are continuously eating lot of fast food, burger, pizza, all these things. So all these arises because we don't maintain a balance between the healthy habits and our natural routine. So again in Charak Sahita it is mentioned, Rogastu doshe vabmyan dosamanya arogyata, which means disease is due to imbalance of dosha, or means health is a balance. So there are different type of doshas mentioned in Ayurveda. So again, if there is imbalance between them, automatically a disease will come into our body. Then it is also mentioned how we can maintain these dosha. Though there are different types of pitta dosh, kapha dosh, all these things. I will not go into the detail, but again it is said that disease in our body is due to imbalance, or that imbalance we now name is that lifestyle modification, but that imbalance is already mentioned in our Vedic text, in our wisdom. So now it talks about how you can maintain these doshas, or how you can maintain your health. So this is because due to how you can maintain. So it is again mentioned in this Sushruta Sahita, Trayo dosha samay sarve prasannatma indriya manaha swastya ita itya vidyate, which means when all these three type of doshas are in equilibrium, our soul, senses and mind are in a state of contentment, one is considered healthy. So now if you go through a definition of the WHO, which tells about what is the definition of being healthy, it says mental well-being, physical well-being, environmental well-being, like four components are mentioned when we say that a person is healthy. So include physical health, mental health, and two more components I am not remembering this time. But again, if you see, this is a modern definition, but in my ancient text it is clearly mentioned when our body is in equilibrium, all the three doshas, kapha, pitta and vayu, they are in equilibrium, my soul, senses, body are in a state of contentment, I am healthy. So you see, everything is there, but only thing is that with the passage of time we have forgotten it. We have seen like what we say, but when it comes from the western side, from the western world, we are ready to accept it with open mind. So this is actually totally I am not against any of the adaptation of the thing, but we should be proud of what we already have and then try to utilize it in sync with what are the modern thoughts, what are the modern processes, so that we can have a very balanced approach of understanding with different perspectives. So now there is a lot of things when we talk about One Health, which includes the animal health, the planetary health and the environment health, because all these three components act in, they are interrelatable. Earlier there was not so much of interaction between animals. Earlier people have no means of transport so that they can move from one place to another. But now we see, as the world is becoming closer and closer, we are moving from different continents, from one country to another, in terms of business, in terms of corporates, in terms of economy, in terms of education. When we factor in all these approaches, we see that actually this is actually disturbed our mutual interaction. But our text clearly says that if we have to sustain, which means when we talk about coexistence, now you see lot of examples, like leopards attack a particular city, or you find that in different parts of the world that elephants elephants approach to particular village, or tiger has attacked this village, or different animals are approaching to different so there is a lot of now what we say like head-on collision between the animals and humans in present society. So why all this? Because we have forgotten to learn or to exist in the form of coexistence with different animals, which our Vedic text always reminds us about. So if you talk about ahimsa, which means non-violence, so our text clearly says ahimsa paramo dharma, which means non-violence is the highest form of any dharma. Dharma means our duty. So non-violence is the highest duty anyone can adopt in this life. This is very well mentioned in Mahabharata, and in Mahabharata there is called Anushasan Parv. In this very clearly mentioned that Ahimsa Parv. So if we adopt non-violence, if we become vegetarians, if we don't kill animals, then automatically many things will fall into place. It is scientifically proven, validated, that more the humans are coming in contact with different animals, more chances of the zoonotic diseases from them, animals to humans. Again, there is a carrier, there may be spillover, there may be breakdown. So all these things may happen when we are too much close. So if we are eating, if we are not killing the animals for different type of things, automatically the chances of getting those infections will lower down. When we talk about welfare of all beings, it is said Sarvo Bhutate Rata, Athat, which means in Bhagavad Gita Shlok 5.2.5, it clearly says that we should be engaged in the welfare of all beings. So all beings means everyone, whether it is plants, whether it is animals, or whatever they are. So we should be engaged in the welfare of all beings. So this is again mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, 25th Shlok, that we should be considered not only welfare of me, but welfare of the entire cosmos, welfare of the entire earth. Then automatically this automatically means that we are already that approach which is we called as the One Health. So generally we consider in our country cow as our mother. So the transliteration is Gavo me Janyanatu Ratnam, which means may the cow generates for me wealth. So like keeping cows, it was our tradition, but now slowly people are forgetting it, and it is Atharva Veda. So it is clearly mentioned that the cows, may the cows give me or generate for me the wealth. Next is again Manu Smriti, which is it is mentioned as that we should not harm the living beings. It is said Na himsayati bhutani, one must not harm any living being. We should not harm any living being. Again it is same sync with Bhagavad Gita says in chapter 5th 25th Shlok that we should live in sync with all the animals and we should not harm anyone. Again in Rig Veda it is said that we should treat cow like our mother. So many people may have say that why we are talking only about cow. So this is just for me, they are talking about cow, but actually we should have that respect for all the animals around us. So again it says as Denvana Syama Matra, which means may we be like the cows who are like our mothers. So again it is talking about living in sync with nature. So now when we talk about the environment in the ancient text, you see in Atharva Veda it is written, O tree, so a lot of people make fun of our Indian culture who says that India is a country, or earlier when it was under colonial reign under the British. So so what we called as like how India was recognized. India was recognized as a country of snake charmers and animals, and we used to think that whatever is coming is actually coming from the Western people. So all of the knowledge that is being has come from the Western, and we actually forgotten our own ancient knowledge, wisdom, everything we have forgotten. But it clearly says in Atharva Veda, Vanaspate Namaste Astu, which means, O tree, I bow to you. So I can proudly say that in our Indian culture we pay respect to each and every living entity, whether it is a tree, whether it is an animal. You can have a different idea for that we have so many different type of gods, but actually everyone, even a snake, even an elephant, whatever thing you consider, we consider them as self-god. So when we talk about God, so it is not that we have to blindly follow and follow that culture, but the actual context of what I understand is maybe the people from that time understand that if we relate all these things natural with particular religion or with particular rituals, then automatically that will be inculcated in the routine habit of the people, and that will pass on from one generation to another. So when I talk about, oh tree, I bow to you, vanaspate namaste astu, so means I offer my salutations to the tree. So again, tree is now respectable to me. So when tree is respectable to me, I will only take what is required from the tree. I will not cut the tree in the name of modernization. In Sanskrit there is a proverb which means one tree is equal to 10 sons. So that proverb is ekam vaksham dasa putra sama, which means one tree is equal to 10 sons. So if you correlate this, now we are talking about the greenhouse effect. Now we are talking about that we have destroyed the forest. We talk about deforestation, we talk about soil erosion, we talk about how earthquakes and tsunamis are coming. We talk about the extinction of so many people, so many animals. That red data book is being filled by a lot of animal species which are becoming extinct day by day. So if you see this, and also if you see that we are now asking for tree plantation, and we are giving an example that this tree purifies so much of carbon dioxide, it gives out oxygen, it takes in carbon dioxide. So in our text it is already mentioned that one tree is actually equal to 10 sons. So that doesn't mean that for the sake of saying they have said that. Again, the meaning we have to understand is that they clearly mentioned that what is the importance of the trees, what is the importance of the natural vegetation, the natural flora, the natural fauna, in which we can coexist with the nature in that particular environment.